What a start to 2021. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. Thomas is locked in shock mode, but it is Ian and Thomas with you for another review of another Oxford United game. It is the first game of 2021. Oxford are away at Burton Albion. So just before we jump into this game, quickly we're going to go over team news. Not too much to say because we talked about what we think Oxford are going to do, what we think Burton are going to do in our preview video, which you can see in the top corner. But 3 changes to Oxford, pretty much expected. Taylor came back in for Adji. Anthony Ford got the nod ahead of Kelly, who was suspended after 5 bookings. And Alex Gorin, coming back from a suspension, took place of Jamie Hansen. Nothing that we didn't really expect there. It was just a question mark of who was going to take Kelly's place. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank did not take charge of Burton in this game. He sat in the stands. But he's come back to the club he did well at a few years ago, got them promoted and left them when they were top of League One. Chris Beardsley was on the sidelines. There's only one change. Gilligan came in for Vernon. You'll probably know the one player that stands out is Kane Hemmings, who's ex-Oxford United player and is their top scorer. They're bottom of the league. They do tend to score goals. They tend to ship a load. So we are hoping for it's going to be a 4th win in a row for Oxford United. Let's see how they got on.
I don't think I've ever seen Oxford United score this many goals, Ian.
It's never happened. They usually like to stop at 1.5.
So it's ended 5-1. I'm actually in shock right now. I think pre-match I had 3-1 or 3-2, and you had 3-0 maybe.
So many similarities to the game we had against Lincoln last season, where a new manager takes place on the eve of the game, and Oxford just turn up and smash them away from home. A wonderful, wonderful result and a great performance. Obviously, Tom said it. It was 5-1 to Oxford. And where to start, Thomas?
Well, I think we should start at minute 0 and talk to about minute 45, and then you'll let me talk for 10 seconds, and we'll let you talk about minutes 46 to 90. How does that sound?
That does sound a pretty standard way of doing things, yeah.
Let's do it then. 0 to 45.
So Oxford got... one thing we hope for is for early goals in this one, and Oxford certainly got that. It didn't take long for Oxford to breach this Burton backline. Burton, just a common theme of what they do over and over again, overcommit. Too many bodies pushed forward, made it very easy for Oxford to get in behind them or counter-attack on them time and time again. The first time it happened, ball came out to Ruffles. He just played a long diagonal ball in between the 2 centre-backs. Taylor ran in behind it, got there ahead of O'Toole, chipped it over him, but it wasn't a hard hit shot, and you would have expected the centre-backs to get back and clear it. The one centre-back who could have got back was O'Toole, but he sort of like stumbled over his own feet and the ball bounced over the line. If you're a Burton fan, you'd just be going like, oh my God. These were the things that were happening to Oxford at the start of the season, and we're certainly getting that rub of the green now. But great finish for Taylor. I think that's like 4 goals in his last 4 starts, so he's absolutely back in the goals, as we would have thought. So a perfect start, and a perfect start got even better after 18 minutes. 2-0, a really good move by Oxford United. They got forward at pace. Burton did clear the initial cross, and they had like 8 men back, Burton, I think, or 7. And I think the ball came out to McGuane, who played it to like Ford. None of them could get the space for the shot. They played it to Shodipo. He got half a yard and just smashed it into the top corner from about 18, 20 yards. Brilliant finish. But Burton will think, how have we got all those men back? And no one's managed to stop the shot. But it was a wonderful finish for Shodipo. He continues to impress, continues to score fantastic goals. And that is 6 for him for the season. It got better. It just kept getting better. I mean, Burton were all over the place. Really, really were all over the place. Oxford looked dangerous every time they went forward. They were so poor at the back. Long got forward. His cross for Shodipo found Shodipo unmarked. Shodipo's second goal of the game. Tap in, really, from about 6 yards out. But a good run by Long and good movement by Shodipo. It felt like it was game over from then. It should have been game over, really, because the next attack, Taylor charges down the goalkeeper. Comes to James Henry, who's about 5 yards out, but he's got an open goal, side foots it, but it goes wide of the post instead of in the post. But it was probably the first time Oxford did something wrong in the whole game. But then they just did get a little bit sloppy, and I will say Burton did look okay going forward. This is why we say they have scored in pretty much every game, but that is like 30-odd games now where they haven't kept a clean sheet, and that is where all the problems lie. But going forward, they look decent, and they did They did get a goal from Oxford. Oxford were a bit sloppy at the end of the first half, I have to say, but it was Quinn's shot which deflected off Atkinson or Moore, and it left Stevens a bit helpless, really, because the ball hit the post and it bounced straight out to Kane Hemmings. Of course, it had
Stevens
to be
out. Stevens out.
Terrible. Eastwood would have saved it. Yeah, it came straight out to Hemmings, who literally had a tap in from about a yard, and it had to be Kane Hemmings. But at that point, you just felt you just wanted half time, because you just thought it'd been such a good first half. Don't be sloppy and let Burton any way back into this game. But perfect first half, really, apart from that goal at the end.
It's really sad that I've already given the final response, because then I could make some joke about how they did let Burton in. But we know they didn't. 2 more goals in the second half. Ian, tell us about how that went.
Yeah, they absolutely didn't. I mean, the one thing I'd say, Burton did come out full of energy at the start of the second half, and they had a few shots from range and a few things were blocked, and Oxford just had to be on their guard. But as a common thing, the more they overcommitted, the more Oxford had chances, the more Oxford looked like they'd get in behind them on the counter-attack, and Oxford started to look dangerous. And Henry and Long linked up so well down Oxford's right-hand side all the way through the game. A break came out to Henry, and he sort of ran across the pitch with the ball. He found Ruffles 25 yards out. Ruffles usually pretty good from this range, smashes a ball in from that range into the bottom corner. It was just what Oxford needed to put to bed any doubt in this game. Perfect, great finish from Ruffles. And Josh Ruffles wasn't satisfied with that, because he made it 5-1. A few minutes later, what was the minute on that one? It was about 6 minutes later between Ruffles' first goal and second goal. Again, really good move from McGuane and Henry and Long. Long got to the byline, squared it back to Ruffles, and he had a tap in from about 6 yards out. Quite similar to Shodipo's goal, really. And you were thinking at that point, Oxford could get any score. It could have been a cricket score. It could have been 635 for 5 declared. 5-1 up, Tom. Game absolutely done and dusted, and it just kind of petered out to a wonderful victory, and really nice to have a nerve-free Saturday and see Oxford get their 4th win in a row.
Ian, you look 10 years younger. Viewing public, tell Ian how much younger he looks. Look at that, man. Haven't seen this all year. I've only got a couple questions, because this is a pretty good win. We expected them to win big, and they won even bigger than we could have imagined. You've already spoken glowing terms about Shodipo. How was Hansen when he came on the pitch in the 65th?
He was all right. He's okay. He didn't really have a lot to do. The game was dead when he came on. It was just really for minutes in his legs. He was fine. The real standout things for Oxford were they were able to get Winnell on the pitch for some game time, and more importantly, they were able to get Cameron Brannigan on the pitch for some game time, which is absolutely massive. The guy's been through torture, really, in his personal life, with nearly losing his sight, and it's wonderful to see him back. He's such an influential player for Oxford, and I'm really looking forward to that day where we're going to have him and McGuane starting in the centre and midfield. It's exciting times for Oxford United, for sure.
Right, so normally what happens now is I ask you something about the bigger picture, and you start talking about how you have a lot of things you want to say about the match still. So, Ian, this is your last chance to talk about this game specifically. Okay.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for giving me this platform. Just a couple. I'll just start by saying, from Burton's point of view, everything just looks an absolute mess. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's got to go in there on Monday and clear a lot of crap out and really get going. They've got some good players, and they've got some powerful players as well. And you can see why they do score goals, but they've got to literally iron out so many. They've literally got to improve defensively such a lot, by so much. I mean, it's they look like any side could just cut them open, and most sides have this season as well. It just really shows like Jake Buxton just didn't really know what he was doing. And for Burton's point of view, they'll just hope Hasselbank can come in and just make them, first of all, more solid and hard to beat, because they're still not cut adrift in this league. Oxford, wonderful. It's difficult to single out anybody having a bad game, so I'm not going to do that. But I would just say the partnership between Henry and Long on the right-hand side was fantastic. Their link play was really good. It was good to see Henry really play a good game. He has good moments in games. It's the first time I've seen him play really consistently well for the whole 90 minutes in quite a while. His crossing was excellent, and his general play was excellent as well. And and Long just continues to impress and gets better every single week. Shodipo, marvellous again. Should have had a hat-trick He did miss his hat-trick chance, Tom. Long, again, should have had a hat-trick of assists that Shodipo did miss from 2 yards out for his hat-trick.
Long did have a hat-trick of assists, Ian. In the 18th minute, the 31st minute, and the 63rd minute.
I'll take it back. But Shodipo missed his chance from 2 yards, and he put it over the bar, over the stand.
Raheem Sterling did.
Yeah, he did, really. But, what can you say? It's Lincoln away, revisited, a wonderful performance, and even started to snow at the end to make it even more magical.
Lovely. Right, enough of this. Let's talk very quickly about the future. It's been going on for far too long. Oxford now sit in 12th. They are perfectly mid-table. No one below them has enough games in hand and a decent goal difference to overtake them at this point. It's New Year's. We're pretty much halfway through the campaign. How are we feeling, Ian?
Oh, man, I mean, come on. You roll the clock back to that Swindon game where everyone's on the floor, and now it's like you couldn't have imagined everything would have gone so well almost since that game, really. It's been Oxford just look far more the side than they did last season. They've started to back that up with wins and goals and clean sheets. The side just looks like it's got a lot of depth to it. I mean, the players coming back from injury, there's players that weren't in this squad today, again, like Sykes and like Clare, that would get into a lot of League One sides and aren't even able to get into Oxford's match day squad. And it's a bit of a shame now they've got to wait 2 weeks till their next game, because when you're on this good run, you just want to play as many games in a shorter space of time.
You do indeed. They're now only 4 points, though, out of promotion places, although almost every team in a promotion place has played 1 or 2 games too few. But Oxford United look like they're going really strong right now. Again, this is your last chance to say anything about Oxford United in the long term, Ian. Give it to me.
Not really too much. I mean, there's not too much to say about the long term, really. I mean, you're just hoping this form continues. I mean, again, just reiterate what an excellent run of form Oxford have been on, and I'm really looking forward to them to play. And it's those times where we were looking terrible and losing 2-0 every week look like they're quite far in the rear view mirror at this point.
Right, now all that's left for me is to firstly thank all of you who are watching. For those of you that want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. Please check out our community page as well. We do have a poll going on there. We are thinking about getting a Patreon account, especially for League One content and possibly Oxford United content. Let us know if that's something you guys would be willing to do to support the channel. It's going to all get spent on things like mics and cameras. We really want to kind of raise the level we're doing this at. But to do that, we have to form some sort of income. So would that be something you guys are willing to do? Also, always have a click below. We have our Amazon affiliate links, etc. Again, small click for you, but a couple pennies for us, which is always really helpful. Burton fans, get at us. How are you feeling about your club right now? Will Jimmy Floyd lift you a little bit? He had a really good run with you before. Is he the manager to take you up? Oxford fans, tell us how happy you are. It's rare. It's rare that I don't think even Brother Alan could complain about a result like this.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll find something to moan about. I'm sure he'll moan about the fact that certain players weren't on the bench.
Ian and I are off to have a virtual pint. Let us know if you guys would like some more live streaming as well, and hopefully for the next Oxford Max in 6.5 years we can do that. Much love from me. Ian, anything else?
No, nothing else to add. Just enjoy it, Oxford fans. A great win for the Yellows.